पुनः प्रमाणित करने के लिए वह संबल को जुटाना, ये दोनों चीज जुड़ जाता है। इस क्रम को पाने के लिए हम समझदारी का अर्थ में 3 मुद्दा आपके सम्मुख रख चुके थे। पहला है जीवन, दूसरा है अस्तित्व, तीसरा है मानवतापूर्ण आचरण।
Right. So these 4 steps before 3 steps before participation. There's understanding, sincerity or honesty, and therefore responsibility. For these 3 things, humans need to prepare or present the evidence, and in order to do that, they need to prepare themselves and dedicate themselves for it, and gather all the things that they might need in order to dedicate themselves in this pursuit. This is the ultimate goal or the solution in which, only through which actually any systems can run sustainably. And so if we ask the question of what is it that we must understand, so that I have already mentioned earlier. That is, the first thing is you have to understand the Jeevan, understand existence, and understand humane conduct.
उसमें से जीवन का स्वरूप के बारे में अभी आपको बताएं। इस जीवन समझ में आने पर हमको ये एक सूत्र हासिल हुई, वो है जीवन नित्य है, शरीर जीवन के लिए एक घटना घटता ही रहता है।
Of this, I have just explained the nature or the manifestation of the Jeevan. And from this entire discussion, that the Jeevan is eternal and the body is an event that keeps occurring through the life of the Jeevan.
किस विधि से? जो शरीर का रचना गर्भाशय में होता है, ये घटना बारंबार घटता ही रहता है और जीवन सदा सदा रहता ही। किस आशय के लिए रहता है? तो निरंतर सुखी होने की आशय में रहता है।
The body is constantly is recurrently formed, composed in the wombs of other humans, and this event occurs recurrently. It keeps happening, and the Jeevan remains eternally, and it continues to exist in its search for happiness.
कहाँ प्रमाणित करेगा? मानव परंपरा में प्रमाणित करेगा। इस ढंग से काम है, क्योंकि संवेदनशीलता, संज्ञानशीलता को प्रमाणित करने का जो कुछ भी अवसर है, संभावना है और आपूर्ति है, यह मानव परंपरा में ही है और कोई परंपरा में नहीं है। इस आधार पर हम जीवन की समानता को पहचानने की आवश्यकता बनी, क्योंकि हम सही में एक हैं, गलती में
So the Jeevan continues to persist in its search for happiness and its desire to evidence that happiness. And where will it evidence that happiness? It will evidence it in the human tradition. There is nowhere else that the human evidences happiness. So this sensitivity, this cognizance, all of this reaches its evidence only in the human tradition. So the possibility and the fulfillment of evidencing sensitivity and cognizance both lie within the human tradition.
और कोई परंपरा में नहीं है। इस आधार पर हम जीवन की समानता को पहचानें।
It lies in the human tradition, not in any other sort of tradition. And on that basis, we have understood the equality of among Jeevans.
की आवश्यकता बनी, क्योंकि हम सही में एक हैं, गलती में अनेक। जीवन समझ में आने से, जीवन की समानता समझ में आने से हम सही करने के लिए इच्छुक होना स्वाभाविक है। ठीक है, उसके लिए प्रयत्न करने का पहला मुद्दा है जीवन को समझना। इसका नाम है जीवन विद्या।
So, we have understood the equality of Jeevans, and we realize that we are united or one in when we are correct, and we are fragmented or many when we are incorrect. And so, the only basis for being united or being one or actually evidencing our sameness or equality of the Jivan is through understanding. And in this understanding, the Jivan is the first point, and that is what we have named the study of the Jivan or Jeevan Vidya.
ठीक है, जो जीवन विद्या में जो पहले जीवन और विद्या दो शब्द हुआ, और विद्या का धारक वाहक जीवन है। विद्या का स्वरूप में तीन भाग होता है, विद्या, विद्वता और जो विद्वान। ठीक है, विद्या, विद्वता, विद्वान।
So now coming to this Jeevan Vidya or a study of the Jeevan, there are two words, Jeevan and Vidya. Jeevan and a study. Now the Jeevan is the entity which is the bearer and the carrier of all study. And when we come to study or Vidya, or you can also give it the word knowledge. Vidya is, can be translated as both the study as well as the object of the study, so the knowledge that one attains. Vidya, when we want to understand it, can be it has three aspects. There is Vidya, Vidvata, and Vidvan. So there is Vidya or knowledge, Vidvata or learning or knowledgeability, and Vidvan, the knowledgeable. So knowledge, knowledgeability, and the knowledgeable. These are the three aspects. Vidya, Vidvata, Vidvan.
विद्या संपूर्ण अस्तित्व ही विद्या है। अस्तित्व में जीवन भी अविभाज्य, ठीक है ना। विद्वता जो होता है वो जीवन में होता है, विद्वान मनुष्य में होता है।
So now knowledge or Vidya is the understanding of what coexistence is. And the Jeevan itself is also a part of this coexistential system. Vidvata or knowledgeability happens or is a quality of in the Jeevan. Knowledgeability is in the Jeevan. And knowledgeable or Vidwan is the human.
ये तीनों बात अपने को पढ़ना चाहिए। विद्या, विद्वता, विद्वान, और संपूर्ण अस्तित्व ही विद्या है, उसमें जीवन भी समाहित है। ठीक है, तो
So this is something all of us must pay attention to. Knowledge, knowledgeability, and the knowledgeable person, of which the entire existence itself is knowledge, of which the Jeevan is also a part. The Jeevan is also part of this entire existence. And the knowledgeability is in the Jeevan, and the human is the knowledgeable one.
समझने वाला वस्तु क्या है? विद्वता को संभाल रखने वाला कौन है? जीवन। और उसको प्रमाणित करने वाला कौन है? मनुष्य, जो शरीर और जीवन का संयुक्त स्वरूप में रहता है। ये अभी इस विधि से मनुष्य का जीवन का महिमा, सह अस्तित्व का महिमा से स्पष्ट होता। मुझको ये बात समझ में आया है।
So who is the bearer? Who is the carrier of this knowledge? Who is the understander and the bearer and the carrier of this knowledge? Which is in different words saying who is the knowledgeable one? It is the human. It happens in the Jeevan.
मनुष्य का महिमा और जीवन का महिमा, सह अस्तित्व का महिमा अपने आप से स्पष्ट होता है। मुझको ये बात समझ में आया है।
In this way, the mahima or the value, the significance of the human and the significance of the Jeevan and the significance of coexistence can be understood. This is something that I have understood.
जीवन, और उसको प्रमाणित करने वाला कौन है? मनुष्य, जो शरीर और जीवन का संयुक्त स्वरूप में रहता है। यह भी इस विधि से मनुष्य का
Right, sorry, I missed that. So what is the to be understood is all of existence. Who understands or what understands, that is the Jeevan. And so what is knowledge? It is existence. Who is knowledgeable? It is the Jeevan. And who has the knowledgeability? It is the Jeevan. And who is able to evidence this knowledge? That is the human. And human is a combination of the Jeevan running a human body. And that is the significance of existence of Jeevan and the human.
महिमा और जीवन का महिमा, सह अस्तित्व का महिमा अपने आप से स्पष्ट होता है। मुझको ये बात समझ में आया है। सह अस्तित्व की आधार पर ही ये सब महिमाएं उपजी है। अस्तित्व सहज है, सह अस्तित्व सहज है, विकास।
So in this way, the significance of these three become apparent on their own. This is something I understood. And this significance in coexistence is natural. It is natural for them to be significant in this way. Then this is something a bit complicated. We'll start again.
समझ में आया है। सहअस्तित्व की आधार पर ही ये सब महिमाएं उपजी है। अस्तित्व सहज है, सहअस्तित्व सहज है, विकास सहज है, जीवन सहज है, जागृति। ठीक है ना? जागृति।
Okay, so it is on the basis of coexistence itself that all these significances have emerged, he says. The significance of the Jeevan and the body and of knowledge and all that. So it is on the basis of coexistence itself that these significances have emerged, and that in other words, you can say that that these significances are natural to coexistence. So, and what is natural to their emergence is natural to coexistence. So what is natural to coexistence? That means development. Sahastitva sahaj hai vikas. Development is natural to coexistence. The appearance of the Jeevan is natural to development, and the appearance of or the evidencing of awakening is natural to the Jeevan. So he's forming a thread of causality essentially. He's saying these are natural consequences of each other. He's saying if there is coexistence, there will naturally be development. If there is development, there will necessarily naturally be the Jeevan's emergence. And if there is a Jeevan, there will necessarily naturally be awakening. This is the causality.
What did you mean by Jeevan emergence?
So coexistence, and there is a formation of the Jeevan atom, like he had discussed earlier, that there are several types of atoms. These atoms form.
Emergence means a
so the formation.
Yeah,
the Jeevan will form.
संसार है रासायनिक भौतिक, तो रचना विरचना है, जागृति। ठीक है ना? जागृति उस सहज है विकास सहज है जीवन सहज है जागृति। ठीक है ना? जागृति उसके लिए दृश्य संसार है रासायनिक भौतिक, तो रचना विरचना है। इस ढंग से ये सब एक दूसरे से अंतर संबंधित घटनाएं हैं। ये सारा घटनाएं नित्य वर्तमान है।
Right. So if finally he says that awakening is natural to the Jeevan, and for this awakening, the sight that is witnessed, that is seen and understood, that is this entire world around us, which is physio and chemical, and all of these things exist in it. So we become awakened to all of these realities, because that is the drishya, that is the seen visible, that is understood then. And all of this is natural to coexistence. What does he say after that?
कृषि संसार है रासायनिक भौतिक रचना विरचनाएं, इस ढंग से ये सब एक दूसरे से अंतर संबंधित
In this way, these are all interrelated
ये सारा घटनाएं
events,
नित्य वर्तमान,
and all these events,
रासायनिक भौतिक रचना विरचना,
and all these events are eternally present. These are all happening in the eternal present. So the world that we see around us, which is made up of physiochemical matter, it is constantly undergoing formation and deformation, composition and decomposition. All of these events are interlinked, interconnected with each other, and they are eternally present.
रचनाएं ना हो ऐसा कोई क्षण आप नहीं पाएंगे, कोई दिन नहीं पाएंगे, कोई समत नहीं पाएंगे, कोई शताब्दी नहीं पाएंगे। हर क्षण में रासायनिक भौतिक रचनाएं विरचनाएं माने बनते रहते हैं। इस क्रम में इसका जो दृष्टा होता है वो कौन होता है? जीवन ही होता है। देखने वाला समझने वाला कौन होता है? जीवन होता है। जीवन ही समझता है, शरीर कुछ भी नहीं समझता है।
So it is eternally present means you will not find a single moment, a single day, a single month, a single year in which these processes of formation and deformation are not happening. And it is the Jeevan who is the seer of all these eternally happening processes. So the Jeevan is the seer. Drishta word means seer. And so it sees this composition and decomposition. That means it understands. इसको समझने वाला जीवन है. So because seeing means understanding, as he had already mentioned. The body, it is the Jeevan who sees, it is the Jeevan who understands all this. The body does not understand anything. The body does not see anything.
जीवंत जहाँ नहीं रहता है, जीवन का जीवंतता जिस शरीर की जिस भाग में रहता नहीं है उसको शून्य माना जाता है, शून्य स्थली। उस जगह में गर्मी डालो तो भी समझ में नहीं आता है, ठंडा डालो तो भी समझ में आता है। दूसरा, जो जब कभी भी ये अस्पतालों में ऑपरेशन करते हैं उस समय में कोई बेहोश होने की एक काम देते हैं, दवाई देते हैं, उसको देने के पश्चात वो उसको स्थानीय रूप में भी दिया जाता है, पूरा शरीर भी बेहोश हो जाता है।
So it says the body does not see or understand anything. Any part of the body which the Jeevan does not keep alive or does not keep alive, that part is considered to be an absent space, because an absent place, because no matter what you do to that part of the body which the Jeevan is not keeping alive, whether you raise its temperature, make it very hot or very cold, it will not be able to sense it. It is only the Jeevan that is able to sense this heat and cold. In another way, if you look at these operations in which the body is sedated, he's saying, sometimes that anesthesia, sometimes this sort of sedation is done locally, sometimes it's done to the whole body. When that happens also,
ऐसा भी दिया जा सकता है। उस समय में चाहे मारो, काटो, पौल दे, कुछ भी कर दे, कोई पता नहीं लगता। ये सब तो देखी हुई।
So even in such operations and this anesthesia or sedation, when the Jeevan is made to be disconnected somehow from a part of the body, at that point, no matter what you do, you cut it open, you open it up and beat it, no matter what you do to it, it is not sensed, it is not felt by the person. This is something that we've all seen and we are very familiar with.
जीती हुई जीता जागता हुआ देखा हुआ बात है। इस आधार
Tell
पर
me-
जहाँ जीवन जीवंतता
हाँ.
Krishna, it seems so difficult to imagine that some medicine can get the Jeevan unfunctional.
The Jeevan is not dysfunctional.
Unfunctional.
The Jeevan,
Because
it's not unfunctional. It's not that it's not functioning. It is no longer functioning there. Just like, you can stab a person in the heart and the Jeevan will stop functioning in the entire body. So there are ways in which we can keep the Jeevan from functioning in certain parts of the body.
Acha. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know that that's what we're doing. We figured it out through trial and error. Oh, when we do this, this happens, But we
So
don't
that
know
means
that
the body has some control. I mean, there is something very deep connection between that body and Jeevan, because via the body also you can enter Jeevan. No?
Via the body also?
You can kind of control Jeevan. Control
No,
or
we're not really controlling. I mean, in the sense that, yeah, of course, right now, so we are completely dependent on our body. Like, you can control my Jeevan even without controlling the body. You can just say hurtful words to me and my Jeevan gets affected, no? Or you can, someone can alternately, they can tickle a body and the Jeevan also feels it. So we are constantly affecting the Jeevan through the body.
okay.
This is also one
Exactly.
way of doing.
बनाए रखता है, वहीं संवेदनाएं पूरा समझ में आता है। जीवन अपने जीती हुई जीता जागता हुआ देख।
So this is something we've all seen in our real lives, and which is that it is only in the places that the Jeevan keeps the body alive that any sensations can be felt from, received from.
देखा हुआ बात है। इस आधार पर जहाँ जीवन जीवंतता बनाए रखता है, वहीं संवेदनाएं पूरा समझ में आता है। जीवन अपने स्वतृप्ति के लिए जहाँ जिज्ञासु होता है, उसके बाद ही जो सत्यता, यथार्थता, वास्तविकता समझ में आता है, फलस्वरूप जीवन सुखी होने का आधार बनता है। इस ढंग के काम।
I am not sure myself of the link between these two lines, but I think it is only where the Jeevan keeps the body alive that sensations can be made sense of, and the Jeevan does it on its own in order to in its process of seeking happiness. And initially the Jeevan drives itself wherever it is curious, wherever its curiosity takes it, and then eventually it understands satyata, yathartha, vastavikta. So it understands truth, meaningfulness, and reality. These are words.
उसके बाद ही जो सत्यता, यथार्थता, वास्तविकता समझ में आता है, फलस्वरूप जीवन सुखी होने का आधार बनता है। इस ढंग के काम।
So first the Jeevan is driven to wherever its curiosity leads it, but it is only after that it reaches a point where it can understand truth, meaning, and reality, and on the basis of this understanding it is able to actually reach happiness. Okay, I suppose this is the link that he's talking about. The Jeevan keeps the body alive because it is seeking happiness, and initially it's seeking happiness through whatever intrigues its fancy, basically whatever tickles its fancy, but eventually it will have to reach truth, meaning, and reality in order to reach actual happiness. And that is the full picture of this relationship between the body and the Jeevan. I think that is what he is by linking the two. So I was wondering why truth, meaning, and reality has reached over here.
इस ढंग से हम जीवन को समझने के लिए आवश्यकता बनी। पता लगता है यह आवश्यकता क्या पैसे वालों को जरूरत है, क्या दरिद्रों को जरूरत है, क्या मोटा तगड़ा पहलवानों को जरूरत है? क्या बड़ी दुबला पतला दुर्बल लूला लंगड़ा को जरूरत है? या हम सोचते हैं तो बड़ी धनी को जरूरत है? क्या निर्धनी को जरूरत है? किसको जरूरत है? पूछा जाए तो क्या निकलता है? हर जीवंत व्यक्ति को जरूरत है.
And that is why there is, so when we understand this, that when we understand the Jeevan, that is, when we understand that the Jeevan is running its body seeking happiness, and that it will only reach happiness upon understanding this truth, meaning, and reality. We on the basis of this understanding of the Jeevan, we realize that this is needed, that I need this understanding. And is it only me who needs this understanding? Is this understanding only needed by someone who is very rich? Is this understanding needed by those who are poor? Is this understanding needed by very healthy and maybe even obese people? Or is it also needed by the unhealthy and the weak? Is it only needed by the old? Is it only needed by the poor? In this way, we can understand that it is needed by everyone. This understanding, and this understanding, because it leads to happiness, is needed by everyone.
यही नहीं करता है.
Something before this,
अपने को सूत्र
Vishwa, not this last slot, the slot before that. Can we conclude that when a human being is ready to die or dies, that Jeevan has decided to call it a day? And therefore it starts leaving some part of the body. The Jeevan is bored, or the Jeevan has experienced what it came to experience in this particular body, and now doesn't have any curiosity of any kind, and therefore says, okay, let me quit.
No, it is not in that way.
Achha.
It is, it's not in this way. The Jeevan, before having understood, before having achieved happiness, the Jeevan basically hasn't achieved happiness because the Jeevan hasn't understood. And what has it not understood? The Jeevan hasn't understood its own nature. And
Okay.
in that state, in the state all of us are in, when we haven't understood that we are Jeevans and what it means to be a Jeevan, we are not able to take such decisions. So it's not that we leave our bodies, we become unable to run our bodies because the bodies reach a certain state.
Okay.
So हमसे वो छूट जाती है. The bodies are, we kind of.
This is quite very nice, very, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And once we have once we have understood that we are Jeevans, then only do we have that empowered ability to actually decide, okay, this is enough or this is not needed or whatever. Then also, why would one decide to leave it before its time? So, the decision-making ability only comes with understanding. Empowerment comes from understanding only. So,
okay. Thanks.
है जीवन विद्या से कोई वर्ग संघर्ष का आधार नहीं है. ये पूर्ण साम्यता का आधार है. अब सबकी शुभ के लिए ये आधार है. सबकी सौभाग्य के लिए ये शुरुआत है. सबकी निरंतर सुखी होने का स्रोत है. समाधानित रहने का प्रमाण है. ये सब चीजें इससे अपने आप से उद्गमित होते हैं.
So on this basis, we see that Jeevan Vidya, or a study of the Jeevan, is no basis for any class struggle. It cannot be the basis for class struggle. It is the basis for absolute equality. It is the basis for the basis for universal well-being is also coexistence itself. It is the basis, it is the source of everyone's continuous happiness. the source of, it is the evidence of being resolved. So Jeevan Vidya is also the evidence of being resolved, and all of these things naturally emerge out of this Jeevan Vidya Madhyas Darshan, coexistentialism. This is very important. Like, this is very, I find it really beautiful that on understanding our sameness, on understanding our common goal, our common nature, our common powers, and our common forces, all on understanding this commonality and this also shared need to understand the same thing, that becomes the basis for freeing ourselves of all sorts of inequalities, from all sorts of class struggles that have been, considered to be entrenched and inescapable in society. Actually, a lot of it has been considered to be that way, and this forms the basis of the hope that humans have always kind of, spoken about and have expressed, of eternal well-being, eternal, universal good fortune. He said, "Sabke saubhagya ka aadhar," eternal happiness. So he's saying this is the basis of all of these things, because it is rooted in an equality and a universality.
मैं समझता हूँ मानव इसी को चाहता है, ऐसे ही जीना चाहता है, ऐसे ही रहना चाहता है, ऐसे ही खुश रहना चाहता है.
As I understand it, humans, it is this itself that humans wish for, that they wish to live as, and they wish to be happy with.
इस अद्भुत उपादेयता के साथ हम सबके साथ सुखी से जी सकते हैं, अकेले कोई होता नहीं, ये सिद्धांत आता है. हम ये धरती के संबंध को छोड़ करके सुखी होने का प्रयत्न करें कोई.
Along with this amazing, astounding productivity, he says, along with this great, emergent fact that we've just paid attention to, along with this, what another principle that we reach is that humans live and must also be happy with others, in relationship with others. We cannot live abandoning the relationship with this planet.
मानव तो नहीं कर सकता.
Humans cannot do it.
नहीं हो सकता. पानी का संबंध को छोड़ करके करो ना भाई, सुखी हो जाओ, हो नहीं सकता. हवा का संबंध को छोड़ दे, हरियार हो जाएगी, कामें हो जाएगी, तमाम.
Oh, I'm so
केवल
sorry.
जब शरीर रहेगा.
My phone suddenly. So we cannot break our relationship with this earth. Humans cannot do it. We cannot break, if we break our relationship with the water or the air, humans will be unable to survive.
इस अद्भुत उपादेयता के साथ हम सबके साथ सुखी से जी सकते हैं, अकेले कोई होता नहीं, ये सिद्धांत.
So the principle is that we can live happily with everyone, and that no one is alone. That is the principle that comes out of this. And then he goes on to say that we cannot sever our relationship with this earth, with water, with air. Humans cannot survive having severed these relationships.
पानी का संबंध को छोड़ करके करो ना भाई, सुखी हो जाओ, हो नहीं सकता.
Try being happy.
हवा का संबंध को छोड़ दे, हरियार हो जाएगी, कामें हो जाएगी, तमाम, हो नहीं सकता.
You try leaving the relationship with air,
तो
you will
इन चीजों के संबंध को छोड़ करके हम सुखी नहीं हो सकते हैं. और जीवन संबंध को छोड़ करके कैसा जीवोगे रे, कैसा होगा भाई, कैसा यांत्रिक हो जाएगा, और भावनात्मक संसार से कैसे मुक्ति पा जाएगा, क्या हो सकता है, आप ही सोचो.
So if we can't escape these relationships, how will we possibly escape Jeevan relationships? And how can we live in a mechanical world, having escaped this abstract. Bhav is, I suppose, bhav can be translated as a composite of abstract or emotion or meaning or value, some composite of these. I haven't figured out a good enough translation, so I'm using abstract for now. So how can we think we will suffice in just this mechanical, in a mechanical world, having ignored this abstract reality and ignoring our abstract relations or the felt relations with other jivans?
Can bhav be replaced somewhat like oh, I forgot the word. Never mind.
If you remember it, do write it down.
Sentiments.
So sentiment, it's close. I mean, I would use it, except for the fact that sentiment comes from sense. And also, yeah, I think I'll consider that. Actually, it's a good word. I'll have to think about its etymology and usage and all that, because emotions are also, sentiments are thought of as emotions, and that is because actually we feel our emotions in our bodies. We feel a certain fluttering and we think we're nervous, and we feel a certain warmth and we feel that we're feeling love, or we feel something in our stomach. So actually when we feel emotions, we are feeling them in our body. So actually they're sensations. But there is something that we feel, but they are not actually sensations. They also have sensations along with them, but there is something else going on as well, which is at the abstract level. And so similarly, bhav is also something which is felt also because it is felt in the jivan, it is also felt in the body, but it is not a bodily emotion. So when he talks about sensitivity, he is talking about essentially the sensitivity of our, the way we are sensitive to each other's emotions also. Later on it will be elaborated upon actually how that is also a sort of we're also being sensitive only to their bodily emotions and not to the real meaning of the sentiment, if you were to call bhav. So there is that slight distinction, but yeah, that's the limit of language. So whichever word actually matches best, we'll try that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a promising word, I think.
और भाव का मतलब भी है मूल्य.
Oh, there we go.
क्या बात है. अभी आप जाते हो, सभी जाते हैं, संसार में पूछते हैं सब्जी का क्या भाव है.
So the meaning of bhav or abstract itself is value. So we all must have experienced that when we go out into the market, we ask the vendor, what is in Hindi we say it in this way, okay, what is the bhav of this vegetable? Or what? Yeah, I can't find an English equivalent to
Isn't he referring to simply the price?
So that's what he's saying. That's the distinction he's going to make. That even in our everyday usage of this language, we are using this word bhav, and how that distinguishes from price and all. That's what he's going. Let's play the whole thing actually, and then I'll come back and translate.
पूछते हैं ना, सोने चांदी की दुकान में जाकर के पूछते हैं क्या भाव है, लोहे की दुकान में जाकर के पूछते हैं क्या भाव है, और अनाज की दुकान में जाकर के पूछते हैं क्या भाव है. हर जगह में भाव ही पूछा जाता है. ठीक है. वो भाव का दृष्टा कौन है? मनुष्य ही होता है, दूसरा कोई होता नहीं है. ठीक है. अब जब आपको लोहे का भाव होगा ये हमको पता है, मट्टी का भाव होगा ये भी पता है, तो घास का भाव होगा ये भी पता है. जब मनुष्य का भाव भी होगा ना, नहीं होगा, आसानी से होगा, सुख से होगा, प्रसन्नता से होगा. मनुष्य का भाव को पता लगाना ही बहुत आवश्यक वस्तु रहा. उसको छोड़ करके सबका भाव पकड़ लिया, जिससे लाभ का माने अवसर बना रहता है, वो सभी भावों को पकड़ लिया। मनुष्य का भाव अर्थात मूल्य को समझ लें, लाभ हानि से मुक्त हो जाएगा। ये संकट गैर आ जाएगी। यदि ये संकट है, सुख है तो अपना लेगा। यदि यही सुख है तब तो इसको अपना लेगा। तो मानव मूल्य समझ में आने की बात, जीवन मूल्य समझ में आने की बात और स्थापित मूल्य, शिष्ट मूल्य समझ में आने की बाद हमको लाभ हानि का आवश्यकता शून्य हो जाता है। कितनी बड़ी भारी संसार की छाती का पीपल समाप्त हो सकता है। लाभ हानि से जकड़ा हुआ आदमी ना तो अपना बचता नहीं है, बचते ही नहीं, ना पराया तो बचना ही नहीं। तो लाभ हानि के चक्कर में सबका कत्ल चकनाचूर। ठीक है, इस झंझट से मुक्ति तो
Okay, so he says, starts out with that. Now, what is bhav? Bhav itself is value. So now I'm going to translate the word bhav or abstract or sentiment or something with the word value, because literally it actually just means that at the end of the day. So he's sharing how when we go into the marketplace, we ask the vegetable vendor, what is the value of this? What is the value of this vegetable? Or we go to a shop and ask, what is the value of this gold and what is the value of this silver? In English, we could say, oh, how much is it worth? How much is this gold and silver worth? How much is this XYZ thing worth? We ask all of these, the worth of all of these in the market. And yet, if all of these have their own worth, then would the human also have a worth? That is a question. And if the human has a worth, then on understanding that, it actually frees us from this vicious problem of profit and loss. Upon being, if we understand the worth of humans, then we will also be able to exchange in an equitable manner, because we will understand the value of the person, and it will free us from this profit and loss. Let me just listen to this part again.
ये भी पता है, जब मनुष्य का भाव भी होगा ना, नहीं होगा, आसानी से होगा, सुख से होगा, प्रसन्नता से होगा। मनुष्य का भाव को पता लगाना ही बहुत आवश्यक वस्तु।
Right. So we know the worth of vegetables. We know the worth of iron. We know the worth of gold and silver. So wouldn't humans also have a worth? Now it is this which is an extreme necessity. Understanding the worth of humans is what is of extreme importance, which is extremely necessary.
उसको छोड़ करके सबका भाव पकड़ लिया।
But this, besides that, leaving that aside, we've held on to the worth of everything else.
जिससे लाभ का माने अवसर बना रहता है, वो सभी भावों को पकड़ लिया। मनुष्य का भाव अर्थात मूल्य को समझ लें, लाभ हानि से मुक्त हो जाएगा।
And except the humans, we have held on to the worth of all other objects, which leaves the opportunity of profit always open.
ये संकट गैर आ जाएगी। यदि
But if we understand the value of or the worth of humans, that is the value of humans, then we will be freed from this cycle of profit and loss.
सुख है तो अपना लेगा। यदि यही सुख है तब तो इसको अपना लेगा।
So this escaping profit and loss is, you can think that would be a nuisance, that would be a crisis, or you could think that is a happiness. If you think that this is some happiness, the escape from freedom from profit and loss, if you feel that is some sort of happiness, then you should adopt it.
तो मानव मूल्य समझ में आने की बात, जीवन मूल्य समझ में आने की बात और स्थापित मूल्य, शिष्ट मूल्य समझ में आने की बाद हमको लाभ हानि का आवश्यकता शून्य हो जाता है.
And upon understanding the human value of humans, upon understanding the value of Jeevan, upon understanding the expressed and the established values, we become freed from the need of profit and loss.
कितनी बड़ी भारी संसार की छाती का पीपल समाप्त हो सकता है. लाभ हानि से जकड़ा हुआ आदमी ना तो अपना बचता नहीं है, बचते ही नहीं, ना पराया तो बचना ही नहीं.
So such a huge burden on this earth's chest would be lifted, on chest or shoulders, in Hindi it's the chest, would be lifted if we were to understand the worth or the value of the human, of the Jeevan and of the established and expressed values, which will be explained. And uh, this will save, this will, you know, help our own people, those who we consider our own, and also those who we consider others. Us and them will both benefit from this.
तो लाभ हानि के चक्कर में सबका कत्ल चकनाचूर.
Because in the
ठीक है. इस झंझट
because in
से
the
मुक्ति
course of profit and loss, it has led to the destruction of both us as well as them. Everyone has been devastated thanks to profit and loss.
तो इसी विधि से आता है मानव अपने मूल्यों को समझने में समर्थ होता है. उसके पहले ये होने वाला नहीं है. हम बहुत बहुत सिरकूटे हैं विविध प्रकार से, ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं. ठीक है ना. तो उसका गवाही है साम्यवाद और पूंजीवाद.
So in this way, humans become capable of escaping profit and loss. And without this understanding of values, these values mentioned before, this is not possible. This escape from profit and loss is not possible. We have tried, often we have banged our heads against walls in order to achieve this, but we have failed. The testimony to this is capitalism and socialism. Sorry, not socialism, capitalism and communism.
साम्यवाद भी अंततोगत्वा राष्ट्रीय लाभ के लिए जूझा, लाभ से मुक्त नहीं हुआ.
Because communism too eventually struggled and worked towards national profit, and therefore it did not escape profit. So it struggled and was involved in national profit and was not able to overcome this profit mentality.
सार संक्षेप. जीवाद साम्यवाद भी अंततोगत्वा राष्ट्रीय लाभ के लिए जूझा, लाभ से मुक्त नहीं हुआ. सार संक्षेप.
That is it.
अब पूंजीवाद सदा सदा घोषित लाभवादी है, वो तो करता ही है. अब कहां से अपन छूटे.
And capitalism itself is declaredly profit minded. So that is never going to be the way to escape profit mindedness, profit obsession. So now what would have been the relief of no wonder we have no relief.
इसीलिए तो लाभ हानि से मुक्त होने के लिए मनुष्य अपने मूल्यों को समझने की आवश्यकता, मानव मूल्यों को निर्वाह करने की आवश्यकता आती है. ये कैसे आएगी? जीवन विद्या समझ में आने से, अस्तित्व सहअस्तित्व के रूप में समझ में आने से और मानवीयतापूर्ण आचरण में विश्वास होने से मानव मूल्य चरितार्थ होता है.
But so this freedom from profit and loss will only happen upon us understanding our own value and in expressing or living with human values, and this is only that is only possible upon understanding the Jeevan, understanding the existence, and in having confidence through understanding of humane conduct. and that will lead to the fruition of human values.
इसके पहले होने वाला नहीं.
Not before
इसी
that.
का
That
नाम
is
है
not.
समझ
It is
कर.
not possible
मानव मूल्य
before such an understanding. That itself is called and this process of understanding these three things is what we are referring to as understanding.
हम चरितार्थ करने शुरू करते हैं, तभी हम सही करने में निष्णात होते हैं, पारंगत होते हैं, प्रमाणित होते हैं. जब तक लाभोन्माद से जकड़े रहेंगे या और उन्माद से जकड़े रहेंगे, तब तक हमको सही करने का कोई रास्ता मिलता ही नहीं. ये एक छोटी सी.
So it is when we start trying to live these human values, that we become capable and thereby proficient in doing what is right. We were talking about recognizing values and developing the ability to evaluate. So this is all being talked about in that context. So when we have to understand the Jeevan value, human value, and all these values, and on the basis of that, when we try to live according to those, it is only then that we can actually do what is right.
होते हैं. जब तक लाभोन्माद से जकड़े रहेंगे या और उन्माद से जकड़े रहेंगे, तब तक हमको सही करने का कोई रास्ता मिलता ही नहीं.
Trapped within profit obsession or trapped within some other sort of obsession, we will have no way, way out to be doing in order to do what is right. Okay, I think it's time. It's 8. I realize we should pause. Did I lose connection? No, no. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know all these Hindi words, huh?
Yeah. I know only these Hindi words. Okay.
Thank you. Today's was very nice. It's getting
nicer each time, no?
Yeah, that's really the first two. The second, third got me a little nervous, but now second one, I think now it's.
Yeah. It all starts to come together. Then it makes a lot more sense. When all the bits, all the pieces of the jigsaw fit in, then it becomes a bit more reassuring.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, na? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.